Belinda and Harper Audio Australia present this unabridged recording of the Lawson Sisters, written by Janet Gover and read by Rebecca Macauley. The dedication reads, for Michelle, chef, chauffeur, reader, pug mother, and my friend. Thank you for always being there. About the author. Janet Gover grew up in outback Australia, surrounded by wide open spaces, horses, and many, many books. She is a self-confessed bit of a geek girl. When not writing novels, she works in IT, in really dull places like Pinewood Movie Studios, Puerto Rico, and Iraq. When her cat lets her actually sit in her chair, she writes stories of strong women, rural communities, and falling in love. Her novel, Little Girl Lost, won the Epic Romantic Novel of the Year award, presented by the Romantic Novelists Association in the UK, and she has won or been shortlisted for awards in Australia and the USA. As Juliet Bell, in collaboration with Alison May, she rewrites misunderstood classic fiction, with an emphasis on heroes who are not so heroic. Her favourite food is tomato. She spends too much time playing silly computer games and is an enthusiastic, if not always successful, cook. Janet loves to hear from readers, so do drop her a line. www.janetgover.com www.facebook.com/JanetGoverBooks/ Twitter @Janet_Gover. Chapter 1. Elizabeth Lawson never cried. Never. She could remember the last time she'd cried. It was 4 days after her 18th birthday, and not all that far from where she now sat at the wheel of her tractor. That was just over 15 years ago, and in all those years, she had not shed so much as a single tear. But today it was hard. A drop of moisture fell onto the black steering wheel, fading as it dried instantly in the late morning heat. Sweat. She told herself firmly, it was sweat. One of these days she'd buy a new tractor with an air-conditioned cab. But that was pretty unlikely. New tractors cost money, and money was something she didn't have. She was even less likely to have it after today. Liz jammed the hat back on her short, dark hair and reached for the ignition. There was nothing wrong with the tractor she had. It had a few years on it, but it was reliable and exactly what she needed to cultivate lucerne on the river flats, or cart hay, or shift muck from the stables. Today, it was exactly what she needed to dig a grave big enough to bury a horse. She blinked furiously. It was only the dust in her eyes. She closed her work-roughened hands firmly around the control levers and started pushing the loose soil into the hole, covering the dark shape that lay there. It was well past midday when Liz parked the tractor in the machinery shed. As always, her first thought was for her horses. Some needed feeding, others hadn't been exercised. She also had to clear out the stallion stall, which was now empty. She slumped against the tractor. She really didn't want to face that empty stall right now. And it looked like she wouldn't have to. Her eyes narrowed as she watched a car approaching up the long gravel drive, trailing a small cloud of dust. It stopped by the homestead, and the driver got out. He was carrying a briefcase. That was not a good sign. He paused for a few moments, looking up at the building in front of him. Liz knew he...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?